Our first offering is the Amra collection, which will come to you as a package for home use. Now, to build each collection, we will follow the same 4-step process that we follow for all Amra work. So the first thing we're going to do is to identify exactly where your children are at any given moment. And how we will do that is by talking to parents as well as asking parents to fill out a short survey which will give us current information about their child. We'll then curate a number of different materials, or we might design some learning activities and send them to you as a little package, and then you will receive that at your home. And then when you've used that package for a little while, we'll track how the child is going. So we'll do that either through phone calls or through sending a couple more surveys to just see how the child is learning and developing. And then finally, based on all of that information, we will iterate and we will create the next package or the next engagement with the child. And you might be wondering, now what exactly is going to go into this collection? Well, we're pretty certain about how we're going to compose the box. So let me tell you a little about what we're currently thinking. First, what we will have are some open-ended toys. So an open-ended toy is something like simple wooden blocks, which a child can use in a number of different ways. You may have them in different colors or just natural, and a child can build anything they want out of that, which is why it's open-ended. Another example of an open-ended toy might be a musical instrument. You can have several different types of musical instruments, and a child can explore that in many different ways. Now, that's one kind of item that you might find in your collection. The other type of item that you'll find in your collection is something that we call learning materials. Now, learning materials are different from open-ended toys because there's a specific way that these need to be used as compared to the open-ended toys, which can be used in any number of ways. So for example, in this particular open-ended toy, the child is learning to sort by shape. And they're also learning to sort by number because each of these objects has a different number of holes. And then the tricky thing is that they can also sort by color, but this is a challenge because they're sorting different, the shapes are different, but the colors are the same, right? So they have 3 or 4 different things that they can do with this particular learning material, but it's not open-ended. There is a goal, there's a right way to do it. And then the other type of thing we might send are some art materials, and we try and find materials that maybe you don't already have at home. So these, for example, are some child grip crayons. These are great for children who don't yet have a very good pencil grip, but they are easy to hold and actually promote a pencil grip. So that might be something we send you, along with some nice paper so your child can have some large movements. We might send you some child-safe scissors or some shapes for them to cut out, different types of art and craft material. We would also send you some sensory material. So the simplest example is Play-Doh, although we won't only send Play-Doh. So we would send you the actual sensory material, and then we would send you some kind of tool to use with the sensory material. So for example, right here, I have a rolling pin, and then this is something that would help make imprints on the Play-Doh, and that's really fun for children to see. Apart from this stuff, we would also send you some books, age-appropriate books. So an example is this fabulous book by Janet and Alan Orberg. It's a great picture book. We would also send you some classic books by well-known authors like this book by Ariel Carl, but we might also send you less well-known books by Indian authors that have some beautiful illustrations as well. So that could be another thing that's in your collection. Each of these items will also have an accompanying instruction card to guide the parents in introducing the material to their child. Now, here are some things that you might want to keep in mind while you are introducing the material to your child. So of course, unboxing all of these things together might be a really fun activity to do with your child. But when you have unboxed everything, what I would recommend is that you choose one material at a time to introduce to your child. The rest should be put away and introduced at a later time. This will give your child an opportunity to focus on one thing at a time. The next thing that you should consider doing is setting aside some time every day to do this work. and to focus on some screen-free time generally, and focused constructive work. So you could use the material that we've sent you from the collection, but you could also use material that you have at home that might supplement this work. And how you should arrange it is in low shelves that the child can easily access on their own. And you would have noticed that all the material that I've shown you today is actually collected in little boxes or in a tray. And I find that this is the easiest way to arrange material for children, because it can be put into the shelf and taken out very easily, and it looks nice and organized. And the one thing to do, remember, is if you are making things available to children for independent access, then you should make sure that the material is absolutely safe for them to use on their own. So for example, things like scissors, if you're not comfortable that they would be able to safely use that, I would put those away and make sure that that's only used when you're able to supervise them. When we talk about safety, we also need to make sure that the material that's being used is safe for the child, safe for you or other people in the house, as well as safe for the environment. So if you're not 100% confident that they can use the material safely, then make sure that it's only available to them when they are supervised. Also remember that these materials are designed to be used over many days, weeks and months. My child is almost 6 and he still uses a lot of the stuff that you see on the table here. So this is not something that you need to show to your child one time and then put away. It's stuff that you make available, and as your child begins to work on that particular milestone or returns to work on something similar, they'll pick up the material on their own. So you can encourage them to pick up the material. If they're not interested at that moment, you could choose to put it away, bring it back a little later, but do persevere and have repeated exposures to the same material, because that's really how they will develop all of the skills that they need to. And finally, don't worry if your child is not using the material exactly as it's intended, provided that their exploration is safe for you, for them and for the environment. All exploration is good and teaches them different things. But most of all, remember to have fun. These are precious moments that you have with your child, and there's pure joy in watching them grow and develop. For more information about child development, parenting and all things Amra, you can follow us on our social media channels. You can follow us on Instagram, Spotify, Google Podcast and Apple Podcast, all at Amra Circle. And we will be releasing more information about parenting, about child development and about the work that we're doing. So do stay connected to receive updates.